Hello, Captains, and welcome to some Star Trek Online news. This is your host, the Doctor / Borg Drone. Welcome to my channel, Just Trek. Today, I am going to go over the latest Star Trek Online news. I am recording this as of May 10th, 2019. There has been a lot of news updates since my last news post, which was a month ago. There's a lot to go over. We have a new update to Star Trek Online coming literally next week. It's called Rise of Discovery. And that's pretty much the first news piece we're going to get into, because that's the biggest thing here, is that on Tuesday, the 14th, I believe the 14th is a Tuesday, is that correct? Yes, it is the update, Rise of Discovery. So Cryptic is, of course, continuing the entire Discovery era stuff, content, whatever you want to call it. And this new update is Rise of Discovery. We've had, what have we had? We've had Age of Discovery, and we've had Mirror of Discovery. So now we're getting Rise of Discovery. Okay, so let's go to the first news piece. I'm right here on the Art Games webpage, StarTrekOnline.com. You can also get there. This is where they post all the news, as you can see right here. And the first bit I'm going to get to is actually the actual announcement of Rise of Discovery, so that you are aware of what's coming. From this picture, from this wallpaper, very evident that Lorca is back. So we thought we got rid of him in Season 1. No, apparently not. He is back here in Star Trek Online. It makes sense. He was a part of Discovery. It was, that first season. I know many of us want to forget the first season of Discovery, but I guess Star Trek Online has to get through that before they can get to some of maybe the better things in Season 2. But anyway, here we got Lorca back. We have the Rise of Discovery video. I'll go ahead and show it, but I am going to mute the audio for copyright reasons. You can certainly understand that. But if you go to the Star Trek Online YouTube page, you can view it there with the audio. So I'm going to mute the audio, but I'm going to play the video. And I'll just talk about what we see here. So we've got a ship flying through Quad Nacelle ship. I didn't see what the ship name on that said. We have the room that they're always in. Obviously, the even though it's not the Discovery, that's definitely not the Discovery. I don't know what ship that is, actually. And there is Lorca in the seat, and that's the big reveal here. Somebody can tell me what that ship is and what all that's about, because I'm not quite sure. But that's basically the little teaser video. Lets us know of what some of the stuff we'll be getting there. I'm guessing, of course, new ships, new styles of ship we've seen in the TV show, and of course, I guess Lorca. So we're getting. Okay, so here's the official announcement. We are happy to announce that the next major update to Star Trek Online, Rise of Discovery, is coming to PC on May 14th and to Xbox One and PS4 this summer. This brand new update will be led by two alumni of Star Trek Discovery, Rekha Sharma and Jason Isaacs, as Commander Ellen Landry and Captain Gabriel Lorca. This new adventure will feature two new episodes that show captains the fate of the USS Buran and the past of these two fascinating characters before Captain Lorca took command of Discovery. Okay, well, that answers some of my questions right there. So I'm guessing that was the Buran. You know what, though? I really do need to go back and rewatch Season 1, because there's probably things here that I'm not remembering from Season 1, because I don't remember what the USS Buran was. I guess that was... See, I always thought he was always in command of the Discovery, but I guess obviously he had to be in command of a ship before Discovery. So this is that. We're going to see that, I guess. Now, I wonder which Lorca we're getting. And people that have seen Season 1 of Discovery will know what I'm talking about. Which Lorca are we getting? I don't want to spoil anybody if you haven't seen Season 1, but that's what I'm wondering here. What Lorca are we going to see? And the history of his character. That could be interesting, because I guess we didn't get a lot of that into Star Trek Discovery. So that history could be could be something interesting and intriguing, I suppose. All right, it says, but that's not all. As part of this major update, we'll be releasing the brand new Discovery Legends reputation. Players will be able to earn new Discovery marks from the returning TFOs Operation Riposte, Peril over Pavho, and Pavho Dissension, which they can apply towards 2 new space sets, a new ground set, new kit modules, new traits, and a new costume. And for the first time, all of our Tier 6 starships will become scaling ships, meaning that you will fly the most powerful ship in the game at any level, and they will become more powerful as you do. We'll have more information about this update in coming weeks. We can't wait for you all to experience the rise of Discovery. So that was back on April 24th when they announced this, but now we are literally days away from this launching. So we know some of the things we're getting here. We know we're getting a Lorca storyline, a past Lorca storyline, a Baran storyline. We know that they are bringing back the featured TFOs we've already played to grind for gear. They're bringing that back to go toward the new Discovery reputation. And then through the reputation, there will be rewards. And we also know now that there will be Tier 6 scaling ships. Apparently all of the Tier 6 ships will be scaling ships now instead of just Tier 6. Okay, so that's coming on the 14th here in a few days. A lot to look forward to. Let's keep moving through this. There's a lot of news here to go through. So let's talk about this command Tier 6 ships at any level. Beginning very soon, players of Star Trek Online will have the opportunity to fly any Tier 6 starship that they own, regardless of the character's levels. So I guess that means if we're an ensign, we can still fly a Tier 6 ship. It just won't be fully Tier 6'd, as it were, until you get to max level, I am guessing. Pursuit of this feature began as an experiment with the prototype Walker. I think I did a review of that ship too, by the way. If you want to search for it, I got a review of that on this channel. It was later refined over the course of multiple subsequent ship releases, including the Mirror Universe Ingle, which I have not looked at, Shran and McClaw pilot starships, which I have not looked at, the T'Pau scout ship, which I have not looked at, and the Styx Terran dreadnought, which I have not looked at, among others. With so many successfully related starships now available to players, this experiment has solidified into a feature we are excited to pursue for all existing Tier 6 starships. Wow, okay. As well as all new ones going forward. We've seen a great deal of excitement and appreciation from players over removing the level restrictions on the aforementioned ships, along with the scaling mechanics represented in those ships. The impact these prototypes have had on the game has been overall positive from the perspective as developers as well. Removing level restrictions on so many premium starships allows us to eliminate a barrier that was keeping many players from immediately being able to fly and appreciate the ships that they had won or purchased, whether that was from a C-store or a lockbox or from the exchange. And by replacing the standard issue equipment with gear that scales along with you, we are removing some of the further pain points of using these scaling ships as you level up, as any gear you haven't been able to upgrade with drops or mission rewards will at least stay level appropriate. But it also reduces the challenge, right? Because that was one of the great challenges of the game, was leveling up also your gear. I enjoyed having to replace all my gear when I reached a new, like level 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. That was part of the fun of the game, because it makes you feel like you're making an impact on your character and your ship. If everything just auto levels with you, it takes away some of the fun and the challenge, in my opinion. And I like that part of the game. I like that upgrading my character part of the game. I don't want all my stuff to just scale with me all the time. I like wanting to upgrade. That's me, anyway. So what exactly does this mean for you? All Tier 6 starships may now be flown by characters at any level, provided they have completed the tutorial experience for their chosen faction. Okay, so you do have to at least complete the tutorial. The tutorial experience encompasses is different per starting faction and encompasses the completion of all missions up to and including the following. In the 2409 Federation, you need to do Welcome to Earth Space Dock. In the TOS Federation, you need to do Explore Earth Space Dock. In the DSC Federation faction, you need to do Reporting In. Klingon is First City, Romulan is Explore the Flotilla, and Dominion is Turn the Tide. So after you complete those things, then you can equip your Tier 6 starship. Level restrictions on the starships and associated reward packs have been removed. This change allows for characters to immediately commission ships obtained from lockboxes, promos, events, and other non-C-store sources. Tier 6 starships flown at lower levels have reduced stats and capabilities compared to their full potential, approximately matching other ships at the same level, and will grow with you as you level up. Precisely what this means to different aspects of your ship depends on what its stats and slots look like when you are at level 50+. A full layout of these specifics will be included at the end of this blog. Here is a brief list of the aspects of a ship that will scale as you level up. Hull capacity, shield capacity, number of fore and aft weapons, and number of engineering, science, and tactical console slots. So those things will be lessened when you're at a low level, and they will increase on your ship as you rise in rank. So your ship literally scales with you. But again, I think that takes some of the fun out of the game. Some of the fun of the game was having a lower level ship and having to, wait to upgrade it and to get a better ship. And then you had a good feeling. You would get rid of that ship, upgrade to a new ship that was more powerful, and you were like, all right, now I'm set. Now I got a tier 4 ship now. I'm uber buff. I got a great ship. You had this like upgrade feeling, and they're taking that away now with the ships. You're not going to have that same impact, that same feeling of upgrading ships and gear like you had if everything just scales with you. It's like, well, now you just play the missions, but where's the upgradability fun? Where's the fun in upgrading your gear and getting new stuff and every 10 levels becoming more buff? Where's that feeling? That feeling is going to be gone now. That's part of the game. That's part of the game that I really enjoyed. There's also another aspect to this we'll talk about as I get toward the end here that just hit my mind. All starting equipment, standard issue that comes pre-equipped on Tier 6 starships, has been changed into scaling versions of those items. Note, these changes also occurred on many non-T6 ships if they shared equipment with a T6 starship. This is intentional. By changing all of the starter equipment into scaling versions, we are able to ensure that the equipment your starships start with will be useful at any level. But then what's the point in upgrading anything? What's the fun in it? Where's the fun? It can also now be relied on to keep you up to speed as you gain levels, but part of the fun is that you're doing the work to make yourself up to speed. That's the whole point of these kinds of games. That's the fun that I find in it, is doing the work to up my game as I level up. Right? Faction-based restrictions on Tier 6 starships have not been altered. Although this change removes many restrictions from a huge number of starships, any faction-based restrictions already in place are not being altered with this change. As an example, this means that a Romulan will not be able to fly a Federation or Klingon starship until they've leveled up enough to have chosen to ally with the faction of their choice, even though they may have met the requirements of completing the tutorial experience. These changes impact a huge number of starships, more than 400, each unique in their own right. Managing to retrofit so many existing ships in this way was an endeavor we've been hoping to accomplish for some time now, and we're very excited to see the fruits of our labors. No doubt, it's not a small endeavor. It is a large endeavor, for sure. I give them credit for putting the work in, but I question them taking the fun away of the game, taking that upgrade experience away from the game. Scaling starship chart. So here's how everything's going to chart. Let's just go through this real quick. Obviously, you're going to gain forward weapon slots as you rise. You're going to gain aft weapon slots. I mean, we pretty much know that. You're going to gain console slots. And you're going to gain hull capacity. So like level 1 would be 10,000, 10, 15,000, so all the way up to 65, and then you're 45,000. We've seen this already in a way, scaling hull. That's really not new. And shield capacity, that's another thing that will also scale as well. Okay, so that's basically all the scaling there. We know what that is. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this, because here's one of the things that came into my mind as I was reading that. If tier 6 starships are all scaling now, but none of the other ones below it are scaling, tier 5, tier 4, 3, 2, 1, then what is the point now of tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 ships? What's the point? Who would want to fly a tier 1 ship? Who would want to fly a tier 3 ship, a tier 4, a tier 5, when you can just grab a tier 6 at the start of the game and just go with that? Let it scale for you in hull strength and shields and everything, and not have to do any of the work. It's like taking all the fun out of the game. Now you don't have to upgrade your gear either. It scales with you too. I don't know how I feel about that. It makes the other ships now useless, pointless. Why would I want a tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 ship? It makes all of those ships useless. It makes upgrading useless. Why put the effort in and the time in upgrading my gear every 10 levels? Why? Why worry about that now? Let's just let it scale and forget doing the hard work. It's like the easy button. It's the easy way out. But it's also taking the fun out. The fun is gone. I'm very torn on this scaling ship thing. I'm really very torn on it. I get it. I understand. I mean, in some aspects, I like it. I like the idea of having a ship that can scale with you from start to finish. But on the other hand, I also like I'm going to miss that fun of upgrading my ship. Like I would start with a tier 1, and then I would become not enough at tier 2 or 3, and I'd have to switch it out and get another ship. But then I felt like, oh yeah, I got the best ship at this level now. And then you keep doing that. And then the same thing with your gear. I'm going to miss that aspect of the game. It's like, I know it's technically still there. It's still in the game, and you can play it that way. But who would? Why would you now? When you can just get a tier 6 ship and start with that? I think maybe if they really wanted to do this right, they would literally need to make every single ship in the game scaling, not just tier 6. Do away with tiers totally. Have nothing be a tier ship. Just everything be the same ship. Just make it be its own ship and have every ship in the game scaling. So when you start off, your ship is just this powerful, and then it gets more and more and more as you go on. Then you can fly an Enterprise A. You can fly an Enterprise No A. You can fly an NX-01 from start to finish, and it scales with you. I mean, why not at that point? If they really want to do this, they really need to make every single ship scaling. Otherwise, there's no point in the tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 ships. But then, if you do that, we have my other problem with all of this, and that is the fun of upgrading your ships is gone. It's gone. It used to be a big thing getting a new ship. You know, you reached a new level and you had to get a new ship to upgrade and fly, and you were proud of that, and it made you feel good. That's part of these kinds of games, and that's being taken away. It's like the fun is being drawn out. Now, how do you make it fun? I don't know. Maybe have something to where you need to, like, do something to upgrade the ship. Like, it doesn't just automatically scale up. Maybe you need to grind a certain amount of things or whatever to get to a certain thing so your ship will upgrade. I don't know. But they need to do something to make it feel like you're making progress rather than just your XP points. They need to make you also feel like you're actually upgrading your ship. Like you're actually upgrading your gear. That's part of the game. That's part of these kinds of games, is that role-playing aspect. And they're taking that away. And then they're not even doing it fully. They're only doing it half-arse. They're just doing the tier 6 ships. They're not doing all of the ships being scaling. So then it just nullifies the other ships. I'm torn, guys. I am so torn on this right here. I need your feedback. I need your feedback bad. What about that? What about all that? Let's move on. The Command Dreadnought Cruiser Bundle. This has already come out. This was back on April 23rd. So as of April 25th, new Dreadnought Cruisers are being made available on the C-Store. I didn't even know about these. So new Dreadnought Cruisers. Yeah. Let's see. You can get these ships. So reduced amount of Zen for a short time. That's obviously over now. There's fleet versions available. The promotional period's over, so I guess we don't have to worry about that. They have inspiration abilities. We got the Barangan Command Dreadnought Cruiser. So this is a Discovery era style ship. And I guess this is the one that we'll be seeing in Rise of Discovery. This is a Baran. And it is tier 6. So I'm guessing it's going to be scaling, obviously. Tier 6, Starfleet, must complete tutorial, hull modifier, scales, shield modifier scales, 4 weapons, 4. Lieutenant, tactical command, commander engineering, command, lieutenant commander science, lieutenant universal, 3 tactical, 4 engineering, 3 science. So a very cruiser engineering heavy ship, which makes sense. I do like the design of it. I think this looks good. I think it's a good looking ship. It's a good Starfleet looking ship. Or Federation ship. We've also got a Klingon QOJ Quaj Command Dreadnought Cruiser. Same thing, pretty much. It's going to be scaling. It's like specs don't even matter now. With the scaling ship, we don't even really need to worry about the specs now. Again, more of a cruiser kind of ship. There's the scaling stats on it. There's a fleet version. That looks pretty cool, actually. Gonna say, it looks pretty cool. Fleet Cardenas Command Dreadnought Cruiser. So the Baran is a dreadnought. I didn't know that. Okay, so new ships. Obviously, these have been in the game for a couple of weeks now, so probably not real new for you guys, but now I know. Ion Storm Generator. When activated, the console makes your ship the conduit of an ion storm. Electrical bolts will tear from the ship through space at any and all nearby vessels for the next several seconds, dealing electrical damage. Okay. And then Unified Engineering. While this trait is slotted, activating any command bridge officer ability or auxiliary power to structural integrity field will grant your team and hangar pets a buff to hull capacity, regeneration, and bridge officer cooldown speed, flight speed, and turn rate. So these have pets, hangar pets. Guess that makes sense given what they are. I just looked over that, didn't I? Yeah. 1 hangar bay loaded with fighters, okay. So they both have hangar bays. 1 hangar bay loaded with a Class C shuttlecraft. Ah, now I know why I'm seeing so many Class C shuttlecraft in missions I've been playing lately, or TFOs I've been playing lately. I wondered where all the Class C shuttlecraft were coming from. Now I know. It's these dreadnoughts here that have been released. Okay. Well, now I know. Yeah, they got Klingon fighters. Okay, so those have been out for a little while. I think I've seen them in game now. But yeah, anyway, new ships. That's cool. And I think there's a good looking ship too, to be honest. I think it's a good looking ship. The plausibility of the possible, Rise of Discovery. So this is one of those stories they give here, but this is actually, I think, going to be a playable mission. As the Federation and Klingon War unfolds, Starfleet fights to uphold its ideals in the face of an enemy that seeks only victory or death. On Tuesday, May 14th, journey to the Prior system in the Beta Quadrant and assist the crew of the USS Baran in mop-up operations following the liberation of Prior's world from the Klingon Empire. Experience the plausibility of the possible and see what Starfleet is made of. The plausibility of the possible comes out as part of A Rise of Discovery and continues the Age of Discovery storyline. Wait a minute, I thought this was now the Rise of Discovery. Why is it continuing the Age of Discovery storyline if now we're in the Rise of Discovery storyline? They're mixing everything up. Impossibility of Reason is a new mission following the story and events of Plausibility of the Possible. After Klingon captives from the Prior's World skirmishes escape from custody, it's a race to get back in time to aid the Baran against further Klingon attacks, with Commander Landry and her security team along for the battle. It's up to you to rescue Baran, save Prior's World from invasion, and stop the attacks by the Klingon captain Akar. Experience the events that led Alan Landry to become the hardened chief of security aboard the USS Discovery. You can access this mission from your mission journal, blah, 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 with Rise of Discovery. So we're getting backgrounds on Landry and Lorca, is what this Rise of Discovery looks like. Interesting that they went back and are doing, I guess, prequel stuff to Star Trek Discovery. It's like, do we need that? Do we need more? We're going even more prequel now. Star Trek Discovery is already a prequel. And now we're going more prequel with Rise of Discovery and Star Trek Online. Let's not even... It's like Cryptic was like, let's not even do anything in the current timeline of Discovery. No, let's go before the timeline of Discovery and do stuff leading up to Discovery. What? What a weird decision. But I think that's what we're getting. We're getting storylines that take place before Star Trek Discovery. So stuff that was only briefly mentioned in Season 1 of Discovery, they have made entire missions over. Prior's World. It was only mentioned in Season 1. But now we're getting like entire missions and TFOs based around Prior's World. They're going prequel. 2 prequels. Interesting decision. Not sure how I feel about it. Introducing the Discovery Legends reputation. So naturally, we've got a new thing arc here with Discovery, so they're going to have a new reputation. So here you go. If you wanted reputation stuff, here's some more stuff to grind for. The Discovery Legends expedition seeks to understand the pivotal events of the 2250s and the people those events revolved around. The consequences of this time continue to resonate through the galaxy today, and Ja'ula has made it painfully clear that more secrets remain to be found. Separation of fact from myth is necessary. A mix of black market acquisitions, archaeological expeditions, and defense industry research. This group seeks to catalog and remember the facts of our history. The facts of our history, huh? Trying to force that down our throats? That this is canon history? This new reputation, I'd say retconned history. That's what it is. It's retconned history. This new reputation will be available with Rise of Discovery and will feature all new traits, kit modules, space equipment sets, and a ground equipment set. Submitting discovery marks. Discovery marks. There you go. Disco marks will increase your standing with the Discovery Legends expedition. These can be earned by participating in Operation Repost, Peril over Pavho, and Defense of Starbase 1 or Pavho Dissension TFOs. So there you go. These sources of marks have scaling rewards, increasing the number of discovery marks received by performing above expectations or completing bonus objectives. Stellivatory spores can be earned by participating in the advanced and elite versions of the Operation Repost Q, as well as Peril over Pavho, Defense of Starbase 1, Pavho Dissension. These spores have been recovered from these areas, sourced from illicit traders, blah, blah, blah. Basically, that's the other item you need to buy stuff with, because you have to have dilithium, marks, and a third item. And in this case, it's going to be spores we're gathering, so that we can buy reputation gear. Discovery marks and spore canisters can be submitted for reputation XP and new high quality gear acquisitions. Stamets and Tilly's Ingenuity space set. Oh, great. They've named a space set after people. Non-baryonic matter deflector. This deflector is optimized for survival. Built to withstand both the rigors of active duty and the vagaries of electric engineers. What? That means nothing. It improves hull capacity of the ship and provides additional resistance against damage from torpedoes, which improves based on the ship's hull capacity. Okay, torpedoes, sure, why not? Mycelial wave impulse engine. That's just what we need, is a mycelial-based impulse engine. Holy crap. These combat impulse engines operate very well on incidental power alone. Excess power is diverted automatically as needed, resulting in a boost to engine power outside combat and a boost to shield power inside combat. Mycelial harmonic matter antimatter singularity core. Wow, if we weren't doing enough damage to the mycelial network with the spore drive, now we can do it with antimatter. This warp core has been modified with a set of mycelial conduits, which wrap around the primary EPS conduits like vines on a trellis. That makes just no sense. Built on field stabilizing architecture, it improves shield power natively. Sure, why not? The structural integrity field of the ship benefits greatly from this arrangement, and the ship receives a bonus to hull capacity based on the shield power level of the ship. Tilly's Review, pending modified shield. What? Well, that's a terrible name for a shield. Tilly's Review, pending modified shield? This is the worst name for a shield I've ever heard. This shield was modified by an enterprising engineer in ways which have not technically passed safety inspections. The results are quite tempting. The excess energy flowing through the system improves the ship's hull capacity by way of the structural integrity field. Further, the ship's weapons carry a charge from passing through this shield, disrupting enemy shields based on the ship's shield's power. None of that makes any sense. So, wait, the excess energy flowing through the system improves the hull capacity? How is that possible? I don't know, man. Weird stuff. And we got here's more naming stuff. Stamets Tilly Field. Stamets Tilly Field Modification Set Bonus Space. Wow. Okay, so the two-piece bonus is an enormous bonus to in-combat hull regeneration. The Mycelial Lightning three-piece bonus. Your first weapon attack against each target triggers a blast of mycelial energy, dealing damage based on your hull capacity. The Power of Math. Deal damage to enemies based on your hull capacity, divided by the number of targets hit. What? Each foe hit provides a stacking hull capacity bonus to yourself. Okay. All right, let's think about this. Names aside, let's just assume it's not called a mycelial whatever. Names aside, I actually like the bonuses and powers of this set. You've got a lot of hull strength, it sounds like. It'll really be buffing your hull strength. It'll really be buffing your shield strength. You're going to do some pretty good amount of damage, it sounds like, with all this as well. So it sounds like this could be a really good tanking build. Like, put this on, a cruiser, an engineering-based kind of cruiser setup. This could actually be pretty powerful in terms of, like, withstanding things, staying alive, tanking, that sort of stuff. This could be very powerful because of all the hull buffing and shield buffing. And plus, it sounds like it could do a lot of damage. So actually, the power set sounds cool, but the way it's all worded and what it's labeled as and named is bogus. But I'm looking forward to the power set of it anyway. I'll try it out. Lorca's Ambition. Dark Matter Quantum Torpedo Launcher. Now that sounds kind of cool. A Dark Matter Quantum Torpedo. That's cool. That sounds like Iconian stuff right there. This quantum torpedo launcher has been infused with the unorthodox dark matter pellets collected by Captain Gabriel Lorca. Ships struck by this weapon begin to disintegrate, receiving damage over time that accumulates as more torpedoes impact its hull. When the torpedo critically strikes an enemy ship, twice as much damage over time is applied. If the ship is destroyed during this damage over time, it disintegrates completely. That sounds like a cool torpedo. I want that. Phaser/disruptor wide-angle dual heavy beam bank. This prototype weapon system is available in either phaser or disruptor configurations. Modeled after traditional dual beam banks, it offers greater overall damage and critical severity, but is more cumbersome and slower to fire. Okay. And we've got Lorca's custom fire controls. After the loss of the Buran, Captain Gabriel Lorca modifies the Discovery with additional access to primary systems from the center chair. Fire control receives special attention. This configuration allows for moderate increases to weapon power and shield penetration, and a very significant increase to critical chance. Okay. Then we've got Lorca's Ambition 2 and 3-piece bonus from this. On critically striking, gain a stacking bonus to critical severity. But that's just the beginning. Automatically launch one dark matter quantum torpedo at enemies who fall below 50% health. Max one torpedo per second. No more than one torpedo per enemy. Oh, okay. Berman's Resolve ground set, of course. Available in both armor and environmental suit configurations, this heavily modified piece of gear is optimized for movement by a Susmana master and hardened against harm both physical and mental. It improves its user's physical damage and run speed, as well as providing robust protection against all forms of damage and a significant increase in willpower. Upon earning all 3 pieces of the ground set, you will automatically be granted a costume unlock for the purposes of displaying the unique visuals that accompany this armor. I think it looks cool. Hostile Environment Shield. Developed for situations of extreme adversity and close quarters combat, the shield releases explosively when it's breached by incoming damage, exposing and slowly all nearby enemies. These optimizations have incidental benefit of optimizing the shield's raw capacity. I think that's a very cool looking suit. I can see a lot of people would want to put that on and wear that. It's very cool looking. Mind Meld Device. Cadet Sylvia Tilley and Specialist Michael Burnham created a device to enhance Burnham's connection to Ambassador Sarek. This device replicates many of the features of the Vulcan Mind Meld, albeit incompletely. Investigation for field usage by untrained personnel mostly produced dead ends with a notable exception. The device seems to work well with simple motor skills and muscle memory graph techniques. Wielding the Mind Meld device will grant a simplified version of Susmanha to the wielder, greatly amplifying martial arts capabilities. Okay, that's interesting. Palm Strike is replaced with Engage, a very short recharge lunge that roots enemies the first time it strikes them and slows them. Martial arts finishers are devastating, dealing massively improved damage and always either exploiting or exposing depending on which finisher is used. Weaving together left and right melee attacks into sequences of 3 attacks causes the third attack to be a martial arts finisher. At least one attack from each category, left and right, must be used to create a finisher. So there's like a fatality move now. It's like Mortal Kombat fatality move. Okay. Burnham's Resolve set bonus. Exploiting an exposed enemy significantly reduces physical resistance, and performing martial arts finisher restores health and improves kit module recharge time. But it sounds like this is more of like melee stuff. So if you want that finisher and that passive, or that bonus and all that, looks like you're going to have to be doing martial arts and like melee stuff. So it may be good for a tactical character, I guess, who's doing that stuff. Universal Kit Module, we've got Mud's Time Device. Places a buff on the user for an extended duration. During this time, lethal damage will instead cause the user to be returned to full health, to where they were when they activated the device. Also during the time, using Kit Module will reduce the remaining recharge time of other Kit Modules by a portion of the used Kit Module's cooldown. Harcourt Fenton Mud is not responsible for lost items, but okay, yeah. Gravity Containment Unit. Intended for industrial applications, this gravity containment unit has been modified for more rigorous field use. It forcefully pulls all enemies in an area toward the user, depositing them unceremoniously at the user's feet, dealing moderate physical damage. Okay, so some interesting abilities there, I guess. Traits. We've got, I'm not going to go over all the traits here, but you can pause and read those. Improve your damage over time, grant bonus weapon damage, damage over time stuff, Landry's Sugar, Vigor, Saru's Vigor, Landry's Loyalty, gain critical chance based off hull capacity. So traits we can add, of course. Non-baryonic asteroid. That must be the final trait. Activating this active trait will deploy an asteroid with unusual gravitational properties behind your ship, tethered by tractor beams. It follows behind your ship, pulling in all nearby enemies and dealing damage over time. So it's like that episode which was actually a season 2 episode, where they drug the dark matter behind the ship. Okay. The Discovery Legends Expedition looks forward to your contributions, blah, blah, blah. So all of this reputation stuff is coming this Tuesday. A lot to do. Obviously, it's going to be a grind. You're going to have to grind the reputation. But some of the stuff sounds interesting there. The naming is all crap. But they're trying to be clever with the naming. I get it. But it's a little corny. But the powers actually seem to be something that I would want. Especially on like my cruiser ships that I'm like, if I've got like a tank build or something, that set actually sounds kind of cool. So I would be looking forward to getting that. Okay, the Section 31 lockbox. That's right. If you knew we were going to get a reputation, you know we're going to get a lockbox, and they're making this the Section 31 lockbox. Now, the Section 31 stuff is really more to do with Season 2 than Season 1 of Discovery. So this is getting now more into what the current season, or just recently current season of Season 2 was like, I think. I'm not going to read all that here. The Section 31 lockbox contains unregulated tech, often secret prototypes that never saw full production. Advanced technology waiting for wider adoption, and sometimes stranger things still, even borrowed, Terran or alien. The less Starfleet science required, the more plausible the deniability. This offering includes a ship, space weapons, personal traits, and an unusually large variety of universal consoles, starship traits, and kit modules. Each box also contains a faulty Section 31 holo disguise, which breaks upon entering combat. Apparently some sort of economic inducement. The Section 31 lockbox contains 2 highly advanced grand prizes. The Section 31 Intel Science Destroyer Tier 6 and the Nakjev Intel Battlecruiser Tier 6. So we do have some Intel ships here. Section 31 Intel ships. Certain facets of the Section 31 Intel Science Destroyer Tier 6 engineerings rule out all known shipyards, but the technology is clearly primarily Starfleet. With classified systems and additional procurement discretion, this ship is more than meets the eye. If anything, it meets the eye at all. For times when its stealth capabilities are insufficient or undesirable, its firepower rises to meet the challenge. The Section 31 Intel Science Destroyer comes equipped with the Enhanced Tractor Drone Universal Console. When activated, this console locks onto a target with an enhanced tractor drone, dealing them kinetic damage and significantly decreasing their maneuverability and pulling them slightly toward you. Locking onto the target with multiple enhanced tractor drones will increase the damage dealt by each. Tractor drones are regained every several seconds, and up to 3 can be stored at a time. After achieving level 5 in the Section 31 Intel Science Destroyer Starship Mastery, you will unlock the Exodus Acta Probot, starship trait. While this trait is slotted, activating any intelligence ability or jam sensors will increase your stealth, control expertise, and weapon damage for a short time. Unlike the Federation's use of disguise to run away, the Klingon Empire uses stealth to go forth and fight, and a few ships show that, as well as the Nukjev Intel battlecruiser, a brutal ship with its share of past glory. The Nukjev has been retrofitted and is the perfect vessel for anyone looking to find their place in the ranks of the glorious Klingon Empire. Powerful stealth technology lets you choose the right moment to strike, and the ship's strength and hull and aggressive weapons layout will ensure that today is a good day to die indeed, for anyone in your way. The Nukjev comes equipped with the Glorious Charge Universal Console. When activated, your starship engages in glorious combat with your target, significantly increasing your kinetic damage resistance and breaking their puny starship across your hull. Wow. This console also provides a passive boost to torpedo damage and flight speed. It can be equipped in any console slot on any ship. You may only equip one console. After achieving level 5 in the Nukjev Intel Battlecruiser Starship Mastery, you will unlock the Caseless Momentum Starship trait. While this trait is slotted, firing any torpedo will grant you a significant boost to kinetic damage and kinetic damage resistance. 2 special consoles can be acquired from the Section 31 lockbox: the Boronite-laced Weaponry Universal Console and the Computer-Assisted Flight Algorithms Universal Console. The Computer-Assisted Flight Algorithms console allows your ship to perform flanking maneuvers in space, dealing additional damage to the enemy's rear arc and improving your turn and flight speed. When active, attacks to the enemy's front increases the maneuverability bonus and provides damage resistance, while attacks to the enemy's rear deal even greater bonus damage and reduce the console's own cooldown. The Boronite-laced Weaponry console infuses your ship's weapon with specially prepared boronite, causing your weapon attacks to tear open rifts in subspace near your primary target and draw all existing rifts to that location. Rifts deal kinetic damage over time to nearby hulls. 2 new starship traits are also available. You've got the Need to Know Basis and the Exercise of Vital Powers. Need to Know Basis is an ace up your sleeve, charged by activated Ensign Bridge Officer abilities. Using 10 of these causes a Section 31 Intel Science Dreadnought to appear and fight alongside you for 31 seconds, dealing significant area of effect damage with its abilities and opening up a full salvo with its weapon suite. Nano Infestation is a formidable spaceborne affliction built with nanoscale blueprints recovered from Section 31 archives. It infects the target's ship when you activate a Control Bridge Officer ability, causing its replicators to make copies of itself. After an incubation period, it spreads to all nearby enemy ships, infecting them with the same damage over time. Additionally, the Section 31 lockbox has new space weapons within the Section 31 weapon pack. Covert weaponry optimized for discretion. These phasers are available as either cannon or beams. These weapons generate half as much threat as normal weapons, and replace the traditional phaser proc with a boost to flight speed and turn rate. Rarely, weapon packs contain the Section 31 shield, providing the aesthetics of the Section 31 Intel Science Destroyer to a ship that equips it in its vanity shield slot. Captains may also find Section 31 kit module packs. These kit modules are universal and can be used in any class. You've got Weaponized Dark Matter, a concept borrowed from Gabriel Lorca as of the Terran Empire. The spheres of dark matter deal physical damage over time to enemies they strike, eventually disintegrating them in a spectacular fashion. The damage continues as long as the target lives. Stasis Bubble. This device places an enemy in a non-fragile hold, capturing them and levitating them in a bubble shield. When the shield falls, so do they, dropping unceremoniously to the ground, suffering physical damage. The disorientation reduces their damage resistance for several seconds. We've also got Covert Assault Drone. A piece of Terran technology, this assault drone hovers over the shoulder of its users, firing its phasers at the target whenever the user deals damage from a weapon attack. Agent Philippa Giorgio graciously provided the schematics in exchange for certain considerations. Agonizer Brain Scramble. The dark confluence of Section 31 brain scan technology and Terran agonizer tech. This device ruins the mind of an enemy. It confuses them, placates them, and sends them into a berserk melee frenzy. Agonizer energy radiates off of them, damaging them and any other foes nearby. A decloak mine trap. Forward deployed mines creep about the battlefield only to be revealed at the critical moment in a ring around the target. Especially large targets are likely to set off the mines as soon as they arm, as are crowds of the target's allies who stand too near. New captain's traits are also available. We've got ground, dangers to the Alliance. I'm not going to go over all these, but you can pause and read. Ground, ambush fighter. Ground, unconventional gear. Space, threat assessment algorithms. Space, holographic mirage decoys. Space, unconventional systems. There are many other prizes within the Section 31 lockbox for players to acquire, such as R&D packs, boosts, and other assorted items. Each box also contains a faulty Section 31 holo disguise, which breaks upon entering combat. The Lobi store also has two new items for purchase. We have the Section 31 phaser pistol. This stealthy phaser is the favored weapon of Section 31 agents. Like the space covert weapons, it generates half as much threat as normal, and replaces the phaser's standard proc with a boost to speed. It additionally improves exposed duration and exposed chance, can exploit with its primary attack, and its exposed capability wide fire mode has dramatically lower cooldown than a traditional weapon. Excuse me. You also have the Covert Mine Layer Suite, the finest in A2AD warfare. This console dramatically improves mine performance. Specifically, it increases mine damage, increases mine global cooldown, and adds creep functionality to all mines. Any mine that finds themselves too far away from enemy ships will slowly move toward the enemy ship within sensor range. This creep can be disabled by activating the console and toggled freely. Whew. Captains will also be able to purchase the distinct black Section 31 comm badge in the Lobi store. Bringing the spy tech of Section 31 to the masses is bound to cause waves. It generated a clandestine revenue stream for Section 31, drawing echoes of certain covert arms sale affairs from history, and the proliferation of tools makes deniability all the more plausible. Step into the pale moonlight with the Section 31 lockbox, as well as the additional Lobi store entries coming on May 14th. Ton of stuff there. So a Section 31 lockbox, a lot of stuff coming there. And last, we have the command ships of the Section 31 lockbox. So these are the ships, what they look like, and all the specs on them. So they are Tier 6, and it looks like they are, of course, going to be scaling ships. The hull modifier scales, the shield modifier scales got 4 weapons, 3 aft, 1 Lieutenant Commander Tactical Intel, 1 Lieutenant Engineering, 1 Ensign Science, 1 Commander Science Intel, 1 Lieutenant Commander Universal. So it's actually Commander Science ship. 4 Tactical, 2 Engineering, 5 Science, scales with level. So it actually has 5 Science consoles. It's maxed out on Science consoles. Base turn rate of 15 degrees per second. It does have +5 weapon and auxiliary power. The enhanced tractor drones we already talked about. And yeah, it's got science abilities here. It looks like it's got 2 modes. A science mode where it has a secondary deflector slot. And then a tactical mode, which has an experimental weapon slot. So it's got 2 modes. Tactical mode, dark mode, warp signature masking. So it's got a couple of different modes that it can operate in. And I guess there's a video of it cloaking. Let's see what it looks like. Well, that doesn't do much. The Intel Science Destroyer additionally comes with Dark Mode. When activated, Dark Mode will give your ship a massive stealth bonus, rendering you invisible to any nearby sensors. However, the boost comes with a risk. Your shields will be offline for as long as Dark Mode is activated. Okay, so it's like starship masking. And then we have Innate Power Tactical Mode, and the nacelles flipped down. The Section 31 Intel Science Destroyer comes with the Integrated Tactical Mode Transformation ability. When activated, this switches the starship into a tactical configuration, upgrading the Lieutenant Commander Tactical seat to a Commander Tactical seat. Okay, so in Tactical mode, it's Commander Tactical, and in Science mode, it's Commander Science. Got it. And then you got an Experimental Weapon slot in Tactical mode, and you have a Secondary Deflector in Science mode. We've seen this before. The Chimera, is that how you say it? That ship also has a dual mode kind of thing. Tactical mode can be ended at any time to re-enable Science mode. The enhanced tractor drones, we already talked about that. We have the experimental weapon is called Invasive Coil Gun. The Invasive Coil Gun fires charged oscillating slugs designed to penetrate deep into the target's hull. After the target has been hit enough times, the differing charges built up will collapse, shorting out the target's power systems for a short duration. It may be upgraded like a standard weapon, swapped out for another experimental weapon, and placed in any other starship's experimental weapon slot. The Exodus Actaprobat, while this trait is slotted, activating jam sensors. Yeah, we went over that already. There's the Klingon version of the ship. I'm going to guess it's pretty much the same, except it's got the glorious charge where it rams ships. And I guess that's what it looks like, the animation there. Klingon Align scaling ship. 1 Ensign Tactical, 1 Lieutenant Commander Tactical, 1 Ensign Engineering, 1 Commander Engineering. So this is Commander Engineering. 1 Lieutenant Science, 1 Lieutenant Universal. 4 Tactical, 5 Engineering, and 2 Science. So this is not a Science ship. This is 5 Engineering console slots. Base turn rate of 10, plus 15 to weapon and engine power. Battle Cloak. Warp Signature Masking. Careless Momentum. While this trait is slotted, firing inner torpedo will grant a significant boost to kinetic damage and kinetic damage resistance. Intelligence Starship features. Warp Signature Masking. Intelligence vessels have the Warp Signature Masking. They all have that. And then the active sensor arrays. This is already part of any Intel ship, but they have the exposed vulnerability defense, weapon, or critical systems. That's part of any intelligence ship, so these ships will have that because they're intelligent ships. For those Federation captains who wish to engage in glorious space combat, or the Klingon captain that knows the ends justify the means, fear not. The consoles, traits, and experimental weapons on these ships will be available to players of the opposite faction. The console and starship trait from the Intel Science Destroyer will be available to Klingon aligned captains from the Section 31 lockbox. Likewise, the console and starship trait from the Nakjev Intel Battlecruiser will be available to Federation aligned captains from Section 31 lockbox. The Invasive Coil Gun will be available to Klingon aligned captains via the Low-Buy store with the release of the Section 31 lockbox. So, wow, that's the stats on the ships. So, yeah, I know it's been an hour. It's been a long video. I'm losing my voice, and that's where we are. This has been a lot of news, but it is much needed. Now we kind of know what we're getting for this update on Tuesday. We're getting, of course, a lockbox. They want people to spend money, and the gambling that are the lockboxes is a big way for them to do that. So they're going to sell lockboxes. They're going to do that. And that means we will have a couple of ships, and they're Section 31 themed. So we'll have a Klingon ship and we'll have a Section 31 ship. There will be a lot of Section 31 stuff in there. If you're really interested in universal consoles, sounds like there's some stuff there, kit modules and that kind of thing. A lot of that stuff in there. There's also going to be stuff in the low-buy store. More places to spend money, of course. And then there is the reputation itself, which is nothing but a grind. They want you in the game. They want you playing. But the rewards, some of them seem like they could be very interesting. I'm looking forward to some of those rewards, actually. But it is a grind, no doubt about it. That's what it is. So that reputation is coming. As for actual, like, playable missions, we're getting a couple. I've heard of 2 of them so far, but that's all I've heard of. Otherwise, they're just bringing back the TFOs we've already had in the game. The Discovery era TFOs. They're just bringing all those back so that we can use those to grind for the reputation. And, of course, new ships. Those new command ships, the Baran and all that, because the missions are based on those ships. And then the other big thing is that all Tier 6 ships will be scaling from now on. For over 400 ships, they are retrofitting to be scalable. And then, of course, just the fact that there are going to be 2 playable missions. So when you look at what Rise of Discovery is, it's 2 playable missions, a reputation, a lockbox, and then ship galore. Ship galore. They want you to buy ships. That's pretty much it. Oh, and the scaling ship, the Tier 6 scaling ships. And that's it. That's the Rise of Discovery. So it really makes you question, you know, yes, they're bringing us content and they're bringing back the playable TFOs. Yes, they're giving us some content, like a couple of new missions, but most of the content is not what I would consider mission content. Most of the content is grind content or a way to spend money content, like the lockbox and the low-buy store. And the reputation, that's a grind. And then, of course, you've got the scaling starship, Tier 6 starship thing. You could actually say that's a way for them to get people to spend more money in the C store or Z store to buy more Tier 6 starships, because now you can use those ships at the beginning of the game. So there's another way for people to spend money. So a lot of it is that kind of content, which, yes, it's content, but it's not the playable kind of content I really want, which is like playable missions. They only give us like a couple of those, and then everything else is everything else. And we all know how short the DSC Starfleet faction in this game already is. It's literally 2 missions and then you're done. And they have given us since then another new mission or 2, and they've given us these TFOs. They've actually really pushed out a lot of TFOs. But what I want to see more of, for me personally, especially with an update like this, is I want them to flesh out the actual faction. Because when you look at the DSC faction, it is only a few missions. I would like to see it fleshed out to like 10 or 15 missions. Make it feel like a full faction at least. At least give us as many unique episodes as the Romulans have. At least do that, and the Romulans aren't even what I would consider a full faction, because you have to align with the KDF or the Federation. A faction is something that, in my opinion, you don't have to align with. Like the Federation faction, you don't align with somebody after that. The Klingon faction, you don't align with somebody. But for some reason, the TOS faction and the Romulan faction, you align with somebody. And then the DSC is pretty much the same way. You're only aligned with Starfleet, but it's still the same 2409 experience, you know, after the couple of DSC Starfleet missions. So what I'd really like to see them do is give us an update where they release like 10 brand new missions and they put them all into the DSC Starfleet faction. Finish that first, instead of giving us all these like TFOs and reputations and lockboxes and I mean, all that's good, and I can see why they want to do that and need to do it. But give us the missions too. I like to play missions, and I like my factions to be complete. It's like you start the DSC faction and you're just done after a couple of missions. And then you're just playing the regular Starfleet Federation faction. I mean, what's the fun in that? We need a full faction. We need more missions. This was their opportunity and chance to do that, and they haven't done it yet. And I don't know what story arc this is going to fall under, because I believe Age of Discovery kind of fell under its own, or a Mirror of Discovery, I should say, fell under its own category in the mission storylines. It doesn't even fall under the DSC Starfleet faction, which doesn't make any sense. You know, finish that faction first. Anyway, I'm rambling now. But that's what happens after an hour and 5 minutes of reading text. I'm losing my brain, I'm losing my mind, I'm losing my speech, and I think it's time to end this video. Anyway, May 14th is coming on Tuesday. I am fully going to cover this launch. So if you want to see all the new stuff in Star Trek Online, then subscribe to this channel, hit that bell icon for updates, and you will see me covering all the new content as soon as it's released on Tuesday. I will be hitting this game, recording, and making videos, playing the new missions. I'll do a Let's Play of the new missions. I'll do a video showing all the new stuff and what it looks like and everything. We'll get into all of this. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a very busy week next week. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for watching this video. Follow me on Twitter at Brent_Justice for video updates across all of my channels. Also help support the channel on patreon.com/BrentJustice, where for only $1 you gain access to Discord chat for all of my channels. Come chat with us. Also check out my general gaming channel, Borg Drone, at youtube.com/c/BorgDrone1 for other game Let's Plays. All of these links are also in the description below. Help me on the road to 50,000 subscribers for this channel. With your support, we can make this happen.